Today, I'm going to be building my own terrarium. For those who don't know what terrariums are, I will get that in a short while. However, I'm first going to tell you the materials that are required. Firstly, you need some chopsticks, a spoon, which is over here, and some tweezers. These are just more of for smoothing out, flattening the surface, compressing the soil, and placing the moss and plants in. Secondly, of course, you need a jar. It doesn't have to be a specific terrarium jar. You need, as long as it has this rubber coating that can seal it, it's good enough. Then we need this substrate. I will explain this to you in a short while. The soil for planting the plants, moss. Although it's optional, I think it makes a really great addition to the terrarium as it makes it look a lot nicer, a lot greener. And the plants. These plants, I'm not really sure what the species are. However, I think they will look extremely nice inside the terrarium, especially with the color combination of pink and white. These are some colored sand that were provided in the terrarium kit. However, I am not going to use them as I want to preserve the beauty of the nature inside the terrarium jar. Without further ado, I'm going to get started with my explanation on what terrariums are, and after that we will start building the terrarium. Terrariums are essentially self-contained ecosystems in which a plant essentially has this continuous cycle where it waters itself. How does it do that? That's what I'm going to explain right now. When the plant is planted inside the terrarium jar, the water vapor produced by the plant's leaves through transpiration will condense on the walls and the roof of the jar. The water will then trickle back down into the soil and moisten it, in turn watering the plant. The plant will get caught in this continuous cycle, and it's essentially self-sustaining. It does not need much maintenance. Although this system is extremely efficient, light misting once a month or so will do wonders, as it can refresh and also change the water that has been cycling around inside for the past few weeks. Now I'm going to get started building the terrarium, and I will explain what I am doing along the way. This is the substrate. I am now going to explain to you what this substrate does. This substrate, as you can see, has a lot of air gaps in between it. And we obviously do not want the soil to be saturated with water, as it can cause the roots of the plant to rot. So we are going to place this substrate below the soil such that any excess water can drain down instead of soaking inside the plant's roots and in the soil. So I'm gonna slowly place the substrate inside. I need to do this very carefully, as for in the terrarium, once I put something in, I can't really get it out again. I do not know if this is enough yet, but I'm just going to smoothen it out with my hands. I need to make sure it's not too high or too low in any area. I think I'll add a little bit more. That should be enough. Pick some of these pebbles up. Now just smooth it. I need to make sure there are no spots where it's too high or too low. I need to make it as even as possible. Now for the soil layer. This soil layer serves a dual purpose. Firstly, it keeps the plant in place. Secondly, it also has a lot of well-needed nutrients for the plant that's contained inside. Without further ado, I'm going to start placing the soil inside slowly. Soil is a little messy. That's why I'm doing this over newspaper. See, I have already spilled some. Soils. Like the gravel or the substrate, we also need to smoothen this out. However, this does not necessarily have to be flat. It can be sloped up to one side, so much so as you like your aesthetic purposes. For example, if it's sloped up, you can put moss that's sliding down so it looks more three-dimensional. But for this one, I'm just going with a simple flat build. Alright, I think that's enough soil. I think it's time for me to smoothen it out. There's a hard chunk over here. I need to break it up. I don't think using a spoon is too efficient at flattening it. I think I might as well just use my hands because they're really dirty. This should be fine. Yeah, I think I might need to add a little more soil in, but this seems to be fine for now. Now I'm done with the soil. As you can see, I've added a little in off camera. Just flatten it out a bit. Now it's time for, to me, the hardest part of this project, which is adding in the moss. I need to tear the moss to the right size and shape, and also some of the bottom bits might need to be cut off. I think I'll see if I'm able to use these scissors. Cut the bottom bits off. Don't worry, this does not hurt the moss. I'm just trimming the bottom off to give it so it's not a stick and it does not take up as much space. I'm gonna experiment with this. I'm gonna use my tweezers to pick them up. And then, oh, this is tricky. Plant them in nice and firmly in the soil. Oh no, I got some soil all over it. This is why I say using these is one of the hardest parts of the entire project. Alright, I think that should be fine now. I think I'll add the rest in off camera as this is extremely time consuming. Okay, I'm obviously not done with the moss yet. However, I think I'll finish that after I add the plants in, as I know where and how to put it in. So first I'm going to take out the plant and its roots as well. This is obviously very messy. Try and dust off as much soil as you can from the roots of the plants. Some pebble here. Okay, I'm just going to experiment. Oh yeah, and as for the leaves, which look like they are sort of corroded, I'm just going to cut them off. And this should be fine. Of course, I do need to clear a hole for the plant's roots to go in. I think the hole needs to be slightly deeper. This is so difficult. Sometimes I might just seating it a little more firmly. I think I might need, yeah, this is extremely difficult. It just won't stand upright. I think I need a little more soil. Take it from here. I'm adding in another white plant as I feel the color works really well with the pink. I had to use quite a bit of extra soil, so that's why you should always get more than you need. The main problem with this is I can't get the plants to firmly stick in the soil and stick upright, but I think I've more or less solved that problem. I have successfully planted the plants inside the terrarium. Now I'm just going to add more moss inside it. These small pieces of moss can be used to fill up the gaps between the larger pieces. So that's what I'm doing. Putting there we go. That's a nice one.
tearing the moss into smaller pieces is a good way to do this. Hold on. Going to shift this bit over here. Shift the leaf so I have space to add this little guy here. Nice and snug in there. Then we can use the chopstick. Push him nicely in there. I have finally finished putting in all the materials. You can see all my layers. And now, just before I seal it, I'm gonna give it a light misting, maybe 1 or 2 squirts. That's all you need. And my terrarium is officially sealed. And I can put this in an area with indirect sunlight. It will sustain itself, and hopefully this can last for quite a while. If you have enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you again in my next video.